Good morning. Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? Well, I've got to be honest, I am still reeling from the news that we reported on demolitionnews.com yesterday. The National Federation of Demolition Contractors has started the hunt for a new chief executive. Not only did the announcement come completely out of the blue, it also feels like the end of an era. The incumbent CEO, Howard Button, is synonymous with the Federation. The fault of the NFDC without him is it's kind of like getting used to singing God Save the King after so many years of God Save the Queen. The NFDC without Howard Button is like the Great British Bake Off without Mary Berry, Morecambe without Wise, Ant without Deck. But it looks like that's precisely where we're headed, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more in the main body of the show. Now, without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It is Thursday, the 2nd of March. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, the National Federation of Demolition Contractors has begun the search for a new CEO. Caterpillar caught on camera. Can we get a drum roll for Allu and how to get the best from your Wacker Neuson electric excavator? Plus, we're going to have a race against the clock to see if you can figure out what a certain video is promoting. And we're going to get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days, the day that my parents should have been celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to the children's author that gave us The Cat in the Hat and Green Eggs and Ham, Dr. Seuss, and to one of the very few good guys to emerge from Russia, Mikhail Gorbachev. Happy birthday also to author Tom Wolfe, singer Lou Reed, former West Ham manager Harry Redknapp, and to guitarist Rory Gallagher. To rugby's JPR Williams, rocker John Bon Jovi, recently retired James Bond Daniel Craig, former West Ham star Trevor Sinclair, who scored the best goal I've ever seen live, and to Coldplay frontman Chris Martin. Many happy returns to them, one and all. Now, before we get started, here's a very quick reminder of our question of the day. And we'll get to that at the end of the show. I'm just going to say a very quick good morning to Mark Wyking, who's just turned up. Morning, Mark. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Now, let's get the show started properly, shall we? The National Federation of Demolition Contractors is on the hunt for a new CEO. In a surprise announcement yesterday, the NFDC and the National Demolition Training Group have said that they are actively seeking a new CEO to work alongside Howard Button to ensure a smooth transition. According to an advert posted on both the NFDC website and on the LinkedIn social media platform, the new CEO will be responsible for overall management of the NFDC and NDTG. The role involves a high level of responsibility requiring a pivotal decision-making and strategic thinking. The successful candidate will represent the Federation and demolition industry at events and on working groups, working closely with the boards and leadership teams of both the NFDC and NDTG to provide strong leadership to both organisations. There is currently no indication of timescales or how long the NFDC expects Howard Button to work alongside the new appointee. I'm sure that will all become clear in the fullness of time. But Howard Button's shoes will not be easy to fill. He's been the public face of the NFDC for the best part of 2 decades, I would guess, and played a pivotal role in some of the Federation's finest achievements. Things like the accredited site audit scheme, a series of guidance notes to enhance the knowledge within the industry, although they are tucked behind a firewall now, the formation of the demo days that would actually evolve to become the Demo Expo exhibition. Unfortunately, more recently, I think things have been slightly less plain sailing. A spate of scaffold collapses involving NFDC members was met with silence and inaction during his tenure. Button was at the helm during the unseemly ousting of Paul Brown as president, the repercussions of which are still being felt today. Also under his tutelage, the Federation remained tight-lipped during and for a long time after the Didcot disaster that claimed the lives of 4 demolition men. Most recently, he was in the hot seat when the Competition and Markets Authority named 10 demolition companies in their bid rigging investigation, all of them NFDC members at the time of the alleged offences. At the same time, the NFDC has seen both member numbers and its influence diminish as well. Now, since we published that story yesterday afternoon, I think we are exclusive of that. I've received numerous calls, texts, social media messages, and so on down the line. None of them were unkind. I think most in the industry know how much of himself Howard Button has poured into the role. But there is a widespread feeling, I think, that a change is perhaps overdue, that the time is now right for a new leader and perhaps a new direction. Finding someone capable of filling Button's shoes will not be easy. Personally, I'd like to think that the Federation will draw someone from in the industry's ranks, although there will be very few people with the requisite skills that will be still young enough to take on what is a very taxing role. Interestingly, I think there is one name that has been suggested to me several times by several different people, and that name is former President David Keane. He would be a perfect candidate. He's widely respected, knows the Federation inside out, and he's been a steadying influence on more than one occasion in the past. I'm just not entirely convinced why he would want the job. If the Federation draws from outside the sector, the new CEO will face a very steep learning curve indeed. Running a trade association day to day is hard enough, but running one in one of the most regulated and demanding industry sectors is quite another. But we will bring you more as we get it. If you'd like to read more, you can hop on over to demolitionnews.com, where that is the lead story today. But when I press the next button, I will in fact send you a link in the chat. Seeing that in the chat right about now. Now, I think we can all agree that the arrival of electric machines in the world of construction equipment is going to require some fundamental changes in the industry's mindset. Operators will need to be more aware of remaining running times and remembering to charge the machine before they head off for the next shift. Those involved in the maintenance of those machines will find their roles changed as well, as fuel tanks and filters make way for batteries and sensors. With all of that in mind, those fine folks over at Wacker Neuson have put together a new video detailing the effective operation of its EX17E compact excavator. This is what it looks like.
Welcome to the Wacker Neuson product world. We will show you how to properly operate our products. But the most important thing first, wear the personal protective equipment obligatory for this machine at all times. This is for your own safety. The helmet protects from falling objects on the construction site. Appropriate protective gloves prevent injuries to the hands. Safety shoes with integrated steel toe caps protect your feet. With the safety glasses, you protect your eyes from injuries. The ear protection protects your ears and eardrums. The zero-emission products from Wacker Neuson allow you to operate without direct emissions with minimal noise level and maximum efficiency. Here we introduce you to some special features regarding the operation of the electric machines. The all-electric EZ17E mini excavator gives you the same performance as a conventional machine and is easy to operate. Rotate the battery disconnect switch to a horizontal position to make the machine ready for operation. You can plug in the charging cable on the right side of the machine. The machine can be charged directly at a 16 ampere power current connection or via the supplied adapter cable at a standard 230 volt Schuko socket. To start the machine, please insert and turn the key. Make sure that the left joystick carrier is folded up. On the machine display, you can read all important information such as the remaining running time and machine data. 10 seconds after switching on the ignition, you will hear a soft click. Then you can fold down the joystick carrier. Behind the right joystick, you will find the buttons for switching between Eco and Power mode. By pressing the Eco Power button, you can choose between the two modes. In Power mode, you can increase the speed up to 2200 RPM. On the machine display, you can adjust all other settings, adapt the machine to your needs, and view additional information. While charging, the progress and the remaining time until full charge are shown on the machine display. A special feature, you can also charge the EZ17E at the wall socket while working. Please note, however, that this is only permitted for stationary activities. You will find all detailed information on these machines in the operator's manual. Do you have any questions regarding commissioning or the unit? Speak with your personal contact partner. They will be happy to help. Further information can be found at www.wackerneuson.com.
It will be interesting to see how the industry, particularly those that have only ever known diesel, how they actually contend with that new power source. I think some are going to find it very challenging indeed. Couple of questions, both from Gary Muirhead. I did put one up on the screen. I'm going to contend with this one first. If these machines are so quiet, do you need ear defenders? No. Here is the absolute truth of it. If you put a man on an electric man or a woman, should I say, man or a woman on an electric mini excavator, and it is loading a dumper, for example, and the dumper is a diesel machine, and the diesel operator or the diesel machine operator is expected to wear ear defenders, it is far easier for a contractor or a plant hire company or whoever it might be to just declare that ear defenders must be worn by all. Because then you don't have situations with dumper drivers coming back saying, I'm not wearing my ear defenders, the bloke on the electric excavator isn't wearing them, so why should I? That's the absolute truth of it. Can you get a speaker fitted that makes it sound like a V8 engine? That bit I don't know, although we do know that Tesla, for example, you can actually have an engine noise linked to the accelerator pedal, which, having experienced the acceleration of a Tesla, silently, it is horrifying, and you could get yourselves in all manner of problems. So yes, maybe, bearing in mind how smart those folks at Wacker Neuson are, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they were already thought of that. Now let's have a spot of this. It seems that every major earth-moving equipment company these days has a reversing camera and collision mitigation system within its armory. Caterpillar is no exception, and its offering is called Cat Detect. And this is what it looks like.
Safety is always a high priority when working with heavy equipment. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 20% of fatalities occur on construction sites. Operators report that poor visibility often contributes to unwanted contact, with the rear blind spot being the biggest problem. The surround camera system helps reduce blind spots, increase safe operation, and maintain site productivity. Let's take a closer look at the CAT surround camera system. The surround camera system is a rugged safety technology designed for job site conditions. Flexible mounting locations and up to 4 externally mounted cameras provide you with all the views your operator needs. Combined with other safety upgrades like the seatbelt reminder, this system increases safe operation and reduces cost. Cameras are integrated with the machine so that the display adjusts the on-screen image based on machine movement. Cameras can be pointed at potential blind spots or positioned to monitor bucket or attachment productivity. Surround cameras can be retrofitted onto machines from any manufacturer, so you can affordably upgrade the safety and productivity of your entire fleet. You can work with your CAT dealer to install surround cameras. Surround camera installation kits are flexible, so it's easy to customize the system to your specific application. The increased visibility you gain from surround cameras will increase safe operation, reduce the need for spotters, lowering risk and labor costs, help avoid accidents and related downtime, and boost operator confidence and productivity. It's a great return on your investment. Talk to your dealer about improving your fleet's safety and productivity with CAT safety upgrades like CAT surround cameras.
Yeah, that's one cat you can't creep up on. Not that I make a habit of creeping up on cats, you understand. No, honestly, I really don't. Wish I'd never mentioned it now. I do not creep up on cats. Couple of key comments I think we've had here. Steve Williamson, who was very, very good on our Construction Content Creators Club meeting last night. Thanks very much indeed for that, Steve, and thank you for being here. I have 3 screens to look at. Do I need another one? Cab clutter. That's what it is. Cab clutter. And no, ideally you shouldn't need another one. In fact, you shouldn't be looking at 3. In an ideal world, somebody would say, why don't we just put a heads-up display in these damn machines and just have a single point of all your information that you can flick between as you see fit. No, you should not need another one. As Mick Norton has just said, collision mitigation with surround cameras is another way of saying we were unable to get the operator's arse off the seat to leave the machine and check all around the equipment. And as we have discussed before, if you were to run your sites properly and you had machines in one place and men and women in another place, none of these things would be necessary. But because we try to do everything on the hurry up all at once, men and machines mingle and men get hurt by the machines with which they're mingling. Now, among the dozen or so major brands with which we will be working at ConExpo 2023 are those fine folks at Allu. I'm delighted they've chosen to give up some of their time because, as you're about to see, Allu's time is extremely precious. Yeah, really looking forward to catching up with Allu. In actual fact, the last time I saw them face-to-face was actually ConExpo in 2020. It's been far too long. Now, we've just had a comment here. Gary Muirhead says, CAT should call their camera system the Camera Avoidance Technology, or CAT, CAT for short. Gary, I think that's a splendid idea, and if ever the Caterpillar marketing team lower themselves sufficiently to speak to the likes of me, I'll be sure to pass on your recommendation.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Right, we're entering fastest finger first territory now. There's no prize up for grabs, but I want to see how keyed into these things you are. I've said on this show before that the films and videos produced by the construction equipment manufacturers have grown increasingly epic in the past few years. Some of them have also got quite obscure, and the one that I'm about to show you is one such film. Now, at about the 1 minute mark, it becomes clear what this film is actually all about. So between now and the 1 minute mark, see if you can figure out exactly what this is about before the big reveal. I want your answers in the chat, and we're going to start the clock now.
I see the signs. Tomorrow's never out of sight. my time. I'll make sure I do it right. 'Cause I'm feeling so good tonight.
The demand for critical minerals and metals is increasing rapidly as the world transitions to a fossil-free society. To meet net zero as a global goal, it will require 6 times more minerals by 2040 compared to today's needs. Today, about 8 billion people live on this planet, and in just a few decades, we will be closer to 10 billion. Therefore, we need to develop cities that can cope with this growing population in a sustainable way. To address these challenges, we must speed up the shift towards a more sustainable mining and construction industry. We, at Epiroc, accelerate this transformation.
Gonna take my time. I'll make sure I do it right. 'Cause I'm feeling so good tonight.
Yep. That was about mining equipment, and nobody guessed it right. Bizarrely, Gary Muirhead was the closest, and he reckoned mental health and well-being. You'd have thought with the swimming and the running and the things, it was a pretty safe bet, but he goes on to say, WTF, miles off. Yep, that was about mining equipment. I think they have a creative agency that's perhaps a little too creative. Here we go.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. And I hope you've got plenty to say, because after last night, I'm pretty much talked out. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I'll see you after this for the Craic. Right, we need some music, don't we? I should have pressed the button by now. Let's go with that one. There we go. Good morning, one and all. How are we all doing? Nick Drew just said, that's just a reflection of finished life right there. Suits me. Yes, I'm sure it would suit you. There was a bit of bicycle work in there at one point, I think. It would have suited you very well. It was a great chat last night. A screen full of celebrities. And me. Yeah, it was very good last night. I'll tell you a bit more about it in a second, but I'm going to go back to the very beginning. First off the mark this morning was Mick Norton. Mick is a regular here, but he's not often the first in line, so I can only imagine that, I don't know, he had nothing better to do. But good morning, Mick. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and thank you for being so quick off the mark. Steve Williamson is here again as well. Great contribution from Steve last night, and I'll tell you more in just a second. Gary Muirhead, good morning, Mark. Good morning, everybody, and good morning to you, Gary. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Nick Drew is here. Say good morning, all. If you'd like to know a little more, we'd mentioned the switch from Doosan to Devon, I don't know, whatever, however you pronounce it. We mentioned that earlier this week. If you'd like to know more, go and check out the Diggerman blog, because Nick Drew has written all about it. And I saw a link to that. I haven't read it myself yet, because I saw it just as I was about to press the button on this. But go take a look, because I will be going over there a bit later. My question of the day, which obviously was inspired by the imminent departure of Howard Button. What TV or film series was never the same after the departure of a central character? Was EastEnders ever as good when Dirty Den left, for example? Was Only Fools and Horses as good with Uncle Albert Was it as good with Uncle Albert as it had been with Grandad? If you've got any thoughts on that, love to hear from you. Mark Whiting's in the house as well. Morning, Mark. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Mr. Hatcher is here. The Sprocket Man himself. Morning, Ken. Jim Turner's here as well. Yeah, to be perfectly honest, Mick, that seems to be the feedback that I'm getting. I mean, Howard Button is beyond retirement age, or beyond traditional retirement age, but he is so closely associated with the NFDC. I mean, the NFDC describes itself as the voice of the demolition industry, but the mouth out of which that voice so often comes is Howard Button's. Has been for forever, pretty much. So it is going to be a big change, but there does, everybody that I've spoken to so far, I've not said that's a disgrace, that's an outrage, he should be protected and preserved. Pretty much everybody I've spoken to has said, yeah, maybe now's the time. Maybe now is the time. Good luck with whoever takes over the position of NFDC CEO. He or she has got a big challenge in front of them. Yes, they have. And unfortunately, well, again, because we don't know timescales, it's hard to know just the size of that challenge. But bearing in mind, the CMA, Competition and Markets Authority, was supposed to make some sort of announcement or pronouncement at the end of February. They didn't. They've put it back to the end of March. So there is now a very distinct possibility that a new CEO could be handed the poison chalice of, welcome to the fold, welcome to the NFDC. Oh, by the way, here's a problem to deal with. Your federation has been greatly tainted by the actions of 10 different companies. It's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy to find anyone that could do the role in quite the same way. I think, in many ways, I think that the NFDC were extremely fortunate in that Howard Button had run a demolition company, but also had come up through the ranks of the NFDC and the Institute of Demolition Engineers. So by the time he was made president, then ultimately by the time he was made CEO, he knew the NFDC inside out, back to front, and upside down as well. Not going to be, that's the sort of thing you can't necessarily teach. So I wish his successor all the very, very best. They're going to need an awful lot of luck, I think. Let's have a look. We're going back to the Wacker Neuson machines. If these machines are so quiet, why do you need ear defenders? You don't, is the easy answer. But as you know as well as I do, rules are universal. We had this discussion a little while ago. You know, if you go to start a new housing project, for example, and there before you is a pristine field with nothing in it, no trees, just grass, just an empty plot of land with nothing in any direction for a quarter of a mile anywhere. No overhead cables, no overhead, nothing overhead whatsoever. But the moment you declare that completely empty field a construction site, you're expected to wear a hard hat. Because it's easier to apply rules universally than selectively. It's a nonsense. I fully appreciate that. It is a nonsense. Yeah, as I say, we did mention this. I know you can do that in a Tesla. Would it be that hard to do? I wouldn't have thought so. And bearing in mind, we are talking about a company that has created electric machines and self-leveling mini excavators. I would imagine fitting a speaker that sounds like an engine, not necessarily a V8. A V8 would probably be slightly inappropriate in a mini excavator, but giving some sort of audible sound of revs and that kind of thing, not beyond the wit of Wacker Neuson, I would have thought. Wacker failed to give working durations for their electric excavators in the various applications. I think that is common across all the manufacturers of electric excavators, but then let's be absolutely honest, that's not dissimilar to what we have with diesel. We have estimated fuel consumptions on diesel machines, but there are so many variables involved in that. You know, the application it's in, the material it's working in, the rev setting that's selected by the operator, idle time and everything else. I don't often side with the manufacturers, but on some occasions I kind of do. I've got 3 screens to look at. Do I need another? That's where the next revolution needs to come. Because particularly when you think about what Steve does, chances are the machine he's on has already got a screen to monitor the base machine itself. But then he's also got an additional screen for GPS and what have you. He's probably got another one for his tilt rotator as well. Why don't we just have a central hub? Personally, I think heads-up display. If we're going to do it, let's do it properly. But why not just have one single display that displays everything? It's not hard. It's not difficult. I think a lot of it is because there are so many different disciplines all feeding into the central. You obviously the manufacturer of the machine, but then you've got attachments, you've got GPS, you've got collision avoidance systems and camera reversing systems that may be a bolt-on afterwards, and so on down the line. I think we just need a central hub, but unfortunately to get a central hub we need a central kind of computer language. Do we have that? We never have had in the past. I doubt very much that we do now. Collision mitigation, we covered that one. Let's have a look. Yes, Gary, I will pass on that recommendation to Caterpillar on the day that hell freezes over and Caterpillar actually listen to what I say. I've been offered I've been offered one of these to demo with automatic screening size change within the cab. Great stuff. Yeah, absolutely. The Allu product, the MB Crusher product, very, very smart. And when you think back, it's not so long ago we were struggling to find materials because of the post-pandemic upsurge in demand, so we were struggling for materials, but also, particularly when you're working in things like demolition industry, do you really want to be importing virgin materials when you've actually got materials at your disposal? Stick them through a screener, take out all the bits that you don't want, keep the bits you do want. Bob's your uncle, and apparently Fanny's your aunt. I never understood why, but apparently that's the case. When collision mitigation technology fails and a pedestrian worker is fatally injured, how would a court of law view the incident and assumed culpability of any operator? But it's a good point, and I realise that ultimately everything comes back to from a legal standpoint. But would the legal standpoint not be a whole lot more cut and dried, black and white, if we were to say, this is a machine operating zone. Aside from the operator who is in the machine, nobody else is allowed in there. And this is the pedestrian zone, and no machines are allowed in there. At which point, there is no question mark, there's no grey area about culpability. If somebody went into the working area of a machine where they are forbidden to be, the culpability surely changes. But no, we have house building sites where we've got various disciplines: painters, decorators, piling contractors, steel erectors and roof fixers and drainage contractors and ground workers and landscape gardeners, all dashing about the place with various items of equipment. It's a recipe for disaster. Mental health and well-being was Gary Muirhead's guess about that Epiroc film. It was a good guess. I'm going to admit, I knew, because I'd gone to look at it, I knew that it was an Epiroc film, and I kind of knew that there was going to be an Epiroc message in there somewhere. But a minute in, and funnily enough, we were talking about this on the show. It wasn't a show; it was a meeting last night of the Construction Content Creators Club, and talking about the importance of a hook. We live in a society now where our attention span is extremely limited, to the point where the sweet spot for an Instagram reel, a vertical video or a YouTube short, is somewhere between 6 and 15 seconds. So that's our attention span, and yet there's Epiroc. We're going to put a whole minute intro on a film that tells you absolutely nothing whatsoever about the thing that we're about to show you, and then there's the big reveal. Works as a film, wouldn't necessarily work on YouTube, I don't think. As Gary Muirhead says, miles off. That's just a reflection of Finnish life, and one assumes, given that it was Epiroc, probably Swedish life as well. Yeah, it really was a great chat last night, and I'm going to call them off. Obviously, myself and Steve were there, but we also had in attendance Katie Kelleher, Katie Cranes, Lana Edwards was there, Al Grierson was there, Ben, the operator, was there, Mostly Diggers was there, Ollie Guns was there. I'm just thinking my way around the screen. I think that's all of them. So yeah, I think between us, we would have had several million followers across the various platforms, and we did chew the fat about an awful lot of things including hooks for videos, but about things like brands reaching out to influencers, trying to get them to do stuff for nothing and what have you. I'm not really editing the film, but I'm chopping it up at the moment, so I'm going to tuck that away in the quiet somewhere, and so that all those that were involved can go back and see what we all said. And we're planning to do it again in April, and so far everybody that attended last night said they're coming back for round 2, so it must have been pretty good. Epic Rock skirt around the problem of sustainability of worldwide mining operations with a video that makes no sense. There is that way of looking at it as well. There we go. There, we did get an answer. Fast and Furious, when sadly Paul Walker died in a car accident. Never the same without him. I've seen one of the, I think there's probably the best part of a dozen Fast and Furious and offshoot Fast and Furious movies. I've seen one of them. So pass me by, but I would imagine, because my understanding is he was not quite the lead. I'm sure that would be Vin Diesel, but he was certainly the second lead. And yeah, without him, not quite the same thing. OLED windscreen, yeah, they exist. If you look back at who covered it the best, Peter Haddock. Go and have a look at Peter Haddock's YouTube channel and have a look. He actually featured that OLED windscreen from Bobcat. We filmed it over in Balmer, and Peter did a damn fine job of explaining it. Go and have a look at that. Yeah, an iPad could do that. Yeah, why not? Why not? You wouldn't go playing on a motorway, so why is it okay to walk up the blind side or the back of a machine? See, but even then, I mean, going back to what I was saying, this is where I'm going to talk myself out of my previous argument. If you have a clear definition of pedestrians in one place, machines in another, is the operator responsible if somebody encroaches on his working area? And yet, if a pedestrian walks out in front of a car, there is always the assumption that the driver did something wrong. So maybe I don't have the full answer there. It wouldn't be the first time, let's be honest. Ear protection is only effective while being used. If protection is worn only half the shift, only some 10% of protection is gained. And how often do you see that? There you go, there's your defenders on a lot of hard hats tucked away there. We were talking about this actually on the HS2 job on Tuesday. There is only one type of hard hat on HS2. There are numerous colours. I got gifted the blue one, but there are whites and there are blacks, but they are all the same, and they're all the same because they all have a chin strap. And I realised that a lot of people say, oh, they're really uncomfortable. Personally, after about 2 minutes of wearing it, I'd completely forgotten that I had a chin strap on, to the point that at one point I tried to take it off and nearly hung myself. I think when you think about what a hard hat is there to do, and I remember doing this when we were talking to the people behind this MIPS frame that goes inside your hard hat. It is there basically, obviously it's there primarily for impact, but it's also there to stop your brain rotating within your noggin, basically. So they are designed, or they're tested with that in mind. You get a whack straight on the top of your head, and that's where they're at the best. The reason they've developed this in-hat frame is that a lot of people obviously don't do that. If you fall and you hit the side of your head, your brain has a tendency to do that, causes damage and so on down the line. The MIPS hats, or the MIPS helmets, help to mitigate that. But in order for that to work, as I say, if you've fallen over, if you wear a normal hard hat, like the one that I've got sat in a bag behind me here, wear a normal hard hat, by the time I've hit the ground, that's probably fallen off. Doesn't serve any protection at all. So going back to Mick's point there, no good wearing headphones around your neck, having those little foamy things stuck in your pocket. If you're not wearing them all the time, you're not getting the benefit. Which is what my mum used to say about, you won't feel the benefit if you wear your coat indoors. Never sure that was actually true, but hey. Right, people, I have many things to do today. I've got 2 Zoom meetings today. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but bearing in mind I only work for a couple of hours these days. so not true. I'm here 12 hours a day, and you just don't get to see a lot of it. So yes, I've got a couple of Zoom meetings today, and then we will be bringing you the final show of the week tomorrow. Thank God it's Friday, and then the countdown properly begins. We have 5 more shows to bring you next week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And when I finish on Friday, the computer's going off, the camera's going off, the lights going off, and that's how they're going to stay for 7 whole days, because I will be with Steve Williamson in Las Vegas. Not bad, right? I will keep you posted on exactly what it is that we are going to be able to achieve. I need to get to the press office. I'm getting into the show on the Monday. So I need to get to the press office and find out what the Wi-Fi is like there. Also going to test the Wi-Fi at my hotel to make sure that that's man enough to upload one of these. All things being equal, I will try to record one of these on the Tuesday, so you'll get it on the Wednesday morning, and then we'll do the same the day after that, and so on down the line. So even though I won't be here in body, I will be here in spirit, and the show will run quite nicely without me. Probably be better for it. So yes, we are 6 shows away from a 7-day break. Can't say I'm not looking forward to it. It is going to be epic. Really is. I'm looking forward to it. Probably, I don't remember looking forward to a trip quite as much since I was about 17 years old and going on a foreign holiday with my best mate. And I think part of that is because it brings us full circle. Obviously, this show was spawned from the spawned from the lockdown that basically took hold while we were on Incon Expo last time. But also, we had such an absolute blast last time we were there, and I'm hoping against hope that we can repeat that this time and come back with even more great stuff. So keep watching. We'll be back again tomorrow, 10 a.m. No Saturday social this week. I have many things to do, including buying a suitcase, because the one that we had before is just not man enough for the job. So yes, buying a suitcase this weekend to pack for next weekend. All go here. Right, people, go have a fantastic day. Really appreciate you being here. For those that were there last night, appreciate you as well. As I say, I will be uploading the video of last night's get together for those that were involved. Should be up by about lunchtime today, I would imagine. So look out for that. I'll send you a link to it when it's up and ready. But until then, everybody have a fantastic day. Thanks for all your input. See you all again very soon. All the best.